young leaders, young men. I'm so pleased to have you all here because I've been you. I know what it's like to be a young man trying to figure out how to navigate through life. And having been you, I now know several things that, had I known them when I was your age, they would have greatly helped in my development. Tonight I'm going to share some of those things with you. And we're going to start with 2 questions that I wish I would have known when I was your age, and I would have understood when I was your age. These are 2 questions that once answered, they will direct you on a path toward your success. And these 2 questions are, who are you and what do you want? Now, if someone had asked me this when I was a teenager, I would say, that's easy. I'm Quentin Davis and I want to be successful. But my answer would have been partially inaccurate and partially untrue. The reason why is because Quentin Davis is not who I am. It's my name, but it's not who I am. And success is just a word. The word success does not have any purpose until we give it meaning. Tonight, I'm going to share with you how to figure out who you are and how to get what you want out of life. And hopefully, we'll have some fun doing it. Sound good?
Yes.
I can't hear you. Does that sound good?
Yes.
That's what I need. Yes, yes. So we're going to talk about what you want in a moment. But first, let's start with, who are you? How do we figure out who we are? How do we figure out who we are? It starts in the mind. All those things start in the mind. The philosopher René Descartes said, I think, therefore I am. In the Bible it says, as a man thinketh, so is he. So if you want to find out who you are, you have to first focus on how you think. You see, everything that we do, everything that we say, everything that makes us who we are, it starts in our mind. So how do you think? How do you think about life? Are you someone who's always complaining? Are you someone who's looking for things to be thankful for? How do you think about other people? Do you like people? Do you care about people? Are you someone who's always trying to find a way to trick someone and steal from them? These are things that you know about yourself in your mind. And you have to be honest with yourself. Because it doesn't matter what you say. The quote is, I think, therefore I am, not I say, therefore I am. Because we can say things we don't really mean. Now, what kind of actions do you think about? I want you to really focus on this. Because this is one of the greatest indicators of who you really are. And I'll give you an example. How many of us in here are in school? Raise your hand. Okay. So you'll be able to relate to this. Let me use a mic for this. Sounds a little better, right? So let's say I'm in school, and I'm sitting next to a classmate. And my classmate's going to the restroom. And when they go to the restroom, they've forgotten their bag of chips on their backpack. And so now I'm sitting here, and this is my thought process. Oh man, he left his chips. And they Doritos. And it's my favorite. Nobody even looking. And that's his fault for eating them. Or take a different thought approach. Oh man, he left his chips. And then Doritos. That's my favorite. But you know what? I wouldn't want anybody to take mine if I forgot them. I'm gonna make sure nobody takes his. I want you to really focus on those two thoughts. They're very contrasting. The reason why is because in that scenario, whether or not you took any action, whichever thought process aligned with your mind, that's who you are. If you thought to steal, even if you didn't steal them, you didn't steal them this time, but you possibly will the next time or the time after that. And that's who you are. Now I want to tell you some good news. If you start to pay attention to your thought process and it reveals to you that you're someone that you don't like, you can change it. You don't have to stay that person. If you start paying attention to your thoughts and you realize, my first thought is always to take those chips. My first thought is always to get away with something if nobody's watching me. You can change it. I'll show you what that looks like. Once again, my friend left his chips. Oh man, that's the Doritos. It's my favorite. Nobody's watching. Hey, that's his fault for leaving him. Nah, that's not right. Nah. I was gonna take him, but it's not right. Because I would not want anyone to do that to me. You can change your point of view. You can change the way you think. You can change who you are. Who are you? One of the primary reasons why it's so important to know who you are is because there's something in life you say that you want, and it does not align with who you are, you won't be happy even if you get it. I'll tell you how that works. So let's say you're someone who doesn't like people. You don't like people. But you want to be a doctor, a medical doctor, because they make a lot of money. And so you say, I don't care if I don't like people, I'm gonna get this money. I'm gonna get this money. So you go through all the medical school, all the studying, all the training, all the late nights that you gotta study for exams, and you finally get there. You're a doctor. You can do the Birdman hand rub. God, this money play. So you get into the hospital. You're like, okay, I'm about to get paid. So you step in the hospital. Doctor, we're gonna ask you something. Doctor, we need your permission for this. Doctor, the patient wants to ask you something. Oh, you're a doctor, I heard this. My cousin told me this. Doctor. You deal with that, but you're like, what's wrong with these people? The next thing you come in, doctor, we need to ask you this. Doctor, we need your permission. Doctor, the patient wants to ask you this. Doctor. Enough! I already didn't like people, y'all making me hate people. I just wanted to get this money. The reason why they're miserable is because they did not choose a profession that aligned with who they were inside. A lot of you said you were in school. How many of you in school can think of a really amazing teacher? Raise your hands. You never had a good teacher? Yeah, he said, I didn't think about it, I have one. Right? All right, put your hands down. How many of you can think of a horrible teacher? Raise your hand. A lot of hands shot up for that. A lot of hands. Now, I want you to focus for a moment on that amazing teacher. Think about everything you like about that teacher, what made them so amazing. That person is someone who chose a profession that aligns with who they are as a person. They care about students, they care about people, they care about teaching, they care about learning, and it shows. They're amazing at their job because they love what they do. That's who they are inside. But you got to think about that teacher who was horrible at the job. That teacher chose that profession for the wrong reason. They don't care about it. They had bills to pay, and they were hiring teachers. So that person took that job. And now they're miserable. And they make their students miserable. They probably make their staff members miserable. And it shows. If you want to be happy with what you say you want in life, you need to figure out who you are, who you truly are. Another reason why knowing who you are is so important is because who you are influences how you carry yourself. And how you carry yourself influences perception. Anybody know what perception is? My young leaders, any of my young leaders know what perception is? Yes?
How you see someone?
Say that again?
How you see someone?
He said how you see someone. What do you say to this? I can probably hear you say it out.
My bad. How you look at things, how you, like how he said, how you look at things, how you see someone.
How you look at things and how you see someone. Anybody else? Great answers, by the way. Very great answers. Anybody else? How you look at things and how you see someone. Pretty much. Perception is the way that a person thinks about or understands someone or something. So just like what they said, a person's perception of you is how they feel about you, what they think about you, their opinion of you. And you have a lot of people that say, I don't care what anyone thinks about me. Forget them. But on a practical level, I'm going to tell you why it matters, what people think about you. So let's say I'm looking to hire someone who's an advanced thinker, and you are the smartest person in your school. What's your name?
Philip.
Philip. I'm looking to hire an advanced thinker. Philip is the smartest person in his school. He will be perfect for the job, and it will pay him a lot of money. Absolutely perfect. You were made for that job. If my perception of Philip is that he's not intelligent, I won't look twice at him. I'll pass by him. He'll miss out on an opportunity. I need you all to hear this. This is very important. If a decision maker's perception of you is inaccurate or it's negative, you may miss out on a very amazing opportunity. But I got good news. It's not hard to influence perception. You heard that good news. He smiled, he likes it. It's not hard to influence perception. There are actually 3 primary ways to influence perception that you all need to know. And I'm going to tell you why. 3 ways to influence perception. The way you speak, the way you dress, and your body language. If you have a smartphone, you might want to take a picture of that. The way you speak, the way you dress, and your body language. So let's talk about those. I'm going to use myself, pick on myself. The way you speak. When I first addressed you all tonight, I could have come at you several different ways. But the first thing I did, if you remember, I said to you, young leaders, young men, make some noise! Whether you realize it or not, that created a perception of me, and a perception of this event. I came to you with a lot of energy, a lot of excitement, whereas I could have came to you and said, good evening, everyone. We're going to talk about success and leadership. And after you all wake up, I'm going to recap everything that I said, because I know you didn't hear it. But you got some good rest. I created a perception of myself for you all, and a perception of this event that I came to bring energy, positivity, and it's true. The way you dress. I describe this as a formal event. when I decided to host it. So naturally, as a speaker of this event, I would come at least somewhat formal, right? What do you got to? Thought you were trying to get one. But let's say I hadn't come formal. Let's say I knew this was a formal event and I knew I was a speaker and I decided to wear something else. Let's see what your perception would be. I want to see. I'm going to show you some things and see what you all think. What if I come wearing this? I think that the gamers in here know what that is.
Fortnite.
Okay. What if I come wearing this? I'll be honest with you, I probably would consider that if I was built like that, but I'm not. So that was out of the picture. What if I come wearing that? Now, a lot of you probably want to be upset with me because you think I'm making fun of a homeless person. This is actually very high-priced fashion made by none other than this guy. Now, this just goes to show, they say that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. They also say one man's trash is another man's treasure. But guess what? That is all perception. Wow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The third influencer of perception, major influencer, body language. This one is possibly one of the most important influencers of perception. The reason why is because it matters not how well you speak, or if you speak at all, or how well you dress. Your body language can completely demolish someone's perception of you. And I'm going to show you how. Quentin. This is Quentin. How you doing, Quentin? Will you be my world-class announcer? Excellent, excellent. Everybody give Quentin a round of applause. All right, Quentin, this is what I want you to do. I'm going to prove to them that without speaking, I can influence their perception. So what I want you to do is when I touch you on the shoulder, I want you to say, "Ladies and gentlemen, presenting Mr. Quentin Davis." Can you do that? Want to practice? Want to try one time? All right, go ahead, practice.
Ladies and gentlemen, presenting Quentin Davis.
That was all right. That was all right. That's all we had to have a practice run. That was all right. Shake the shoulders out. Breathe it in. Breathe it in. Breathe it in. All right. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting Mr. Quentin Davis. Ready to try again? One night only. Ready?
Ladies and gentlemen, presenting Quentin Davis.
So here's how we're going to do it. This is my world-class announcer, as you've heard. You all are board members and executives of a firm that I want to partner with. Without myself saying anything, I'm going to introduce myself to you. And the perception that I give, I want you all to tell me whether or not you would consider doing business with me. Everybody understand?
Yes, sir.
All right. You all ready?
Yes.
World-class announcer, you ready?
Ladies and gentlemen, presenting Quentin Davis. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting Quentin Davis. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting Quentin Davis.
Please give my world-class announcer a round of applause. Thank you, thank you. You all just got to see a well-dressed man show you 3 completely different forms of body language. You didn't hear how I spoke. You saw that I was very well put together as far as clothing-wise. But that body language, tell me, would you all consider doing business with that first individual? No. Would you all consider doing business with that second individual? This guy said depends on what. Got a clever guy right there. He said depends on the industry. What about the third gentleman? The only difference, I didn't say anything. I didn't change my clothes. The only thing I did differently was body language. Think about how powerful that is. The reason why it's so important for y'all to know is because a couple years back, I was a manager at a retail store. And a young man came in to get a job, and he got all 3 of them wrong at the same time. All 3. I want to show you what that looked like. True story, this actually happened, true story. So, I'm the manager. And there was a young man coming looking for a job, and this is exactly what he did. He was on a cell phone. Dragging his feet, shoulders hunched over. Mouth open like he was trying to catch flies. Somebody said, look at his pants. Then he got to me and he said, hey, y'all hiring? I'm gonna show this side so you can see what he did. Hey, y'all hiring? B, no, we're not. And C, if we were, it probably wouldn't be you. I say this to you all because he's probably frustrated. He thinks, I keep trying to get a job, but nobody will give me a chance. I keep trying, nobody will give me a chance. He got every single one of the perception influencers wrong. First off, the way he spoke. You don't go to anyone, much less a decision maker, and the first thing out of your mouth is, hey. That seems like common sense, but he didn't know any better. Hey, y'all hiring? If you don't know what to say, here's some examples. Excuse me, pardon me, hello, my name is. Pick one. Number two, the way he was dressed. As you all can see, I'm still adorning this very fashionable garment that I've added to my outfit. I could see his thighs above his waistband. And he came to the manager and spoke to the manager dressed like that. Now I want you to know something. Up here it says the way you speak, the way you dress, and body language. Those are all influences of perception. That's true. But if you don't have fancy clothes, that's okay. If all you have are basketball shorts and you pull them, do something magical. Just pull them right up to here. Just go ahead and just call Houdini to help you out. And you get the other two right, you're good. You're good. I can work with that. I definitely can. Body language. A lot of young people need to see this. I worked with youth for many years. Every time I come into the room, I greet them like this. Hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? Good handshake. But I noticed a lot of youth, without even realizing it, when they would come up to me first, they would come up to me like, hey, what's going on, Mr. Q? Hey, what's going on, Mr. Q? They didn't even realize it. So one day, I came in, and I walked up to everybody, and I was like, hey, what's going on, man? Hey, what's going on? How you doing? They were like, what's wrong, Mr. Q? What is going on? What happened? And I asked them, I said, what did I look like to you? Why you all look so confused? They're like, you acting really weird. I said, what's so weird? They're like, you're walking like a zombie. I said, well, so do you. But you don't realize it. The way the young man came up to me to get a job, he was hunched over, slouched, dragging his feet, looking down, cell phone. There's easy ways to change that. When people drag their feet, you ever hear people drag their feet, you can hear who's coming by the way they drag their feet? Certain people have that trademark, skik, 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 skik. You're like, okay, I know who that is. Skik, skook, skik, skook. Okay, I know who that is. Skik, skik, skik. I know who that is. Pick your feet up. A lot of times I tell young people to look at the bottom of their feet and look at the back of their tread, and it'll be all worn away. They're like, oh, how'd you know? Because you don't pick your feet up. Pick your feet up, push your shoulders back, put your head up, like it's on a table. And you don't have to be like Plankton when he was imitating Mr. Krabs in that episode. You don't have to do all that. Pick your feet up, put your shoulders back, put your head up, and just let your body carry you. It's that easy. But a lot of young people don't know that. A lot of my young leaders don't know that. 3 influences of perception. Let's talk about what do you want? How many people here, show of hands, want to be happy? Okay. How many people want to be successful? Everybody wants to be happy and successful. Where did I find this group? That's actually amazing. That's a good thing. You should want that. But let me ask you this. How many people can tell me what it means to be successful? Raise your hand. Okay. We got 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. I'm going to ask you another question. How many people, I'll put you on the spot right now, without any time to think, can tell me what it means to be successful? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. If your 6, if your definition of success includes money, put your hand down. So how many of you can give me a definition of success that does not include money? Okay, we got 1, 2. Okay, we got a lot. I was surprised. It was more than I thought. You know what? I want to go to my young leader. Let me see what you're going to say. What's your definition of success?
My definition of success is you doing something that you enjoy and something that you're good at and that can make you a better person or make you happy or make other people around you happy.
Quentin, you stealing the show from me. Give him a round of applause. Give him a round of applause. That's a young leader right there. That was an amazing definition. I was going to give him the microphone, let him finish. You know? Let me give you my definition of success. Very similar to what Quentin said. Success, in my opinion, is the ability to earn a living and or continually enjoy a fulfilling life while doing what you love. That's success. And so, a lot of times I ask youth groups what they believe success is. They say, oh, when you make $1 million, that's not success. Okay, when you make $10 million, that's not success. Think about how many lottery winners has so much money, and then in a matter of a few years, they have nothing, absolutely broke. Are they successful just because they had money for like a few days? No, they're not. They're not. But let me tell you this. If you really want to be successful, there's no one who has gone to sleep doing nothing with themselves and just woke up successful. Think about how that would look. You go to sleep one night. You wake up. Oh my goodness, I'm in my dream office. Oh, I got my dream clothes on. I got my dream car. I woke up in a new Bugatti. I guarantee you, if that ever happens to you, or anybody you know, I guarantee you, money back guarantee, you're still dreaming. In order to achieve success, you need a recipe. You need some sort of way to get there. You need a formula. Well, I have one for you, and I hope you have your smartphones ready. It's a formula for success. Your goals are what you want in life. The plans are the steps that detail how you will reach your goals, and preparation is working your goals, working your plans, and practice. So let's break that down a little bit. I like to give examples so people can understand something. So let's say you're somebody who has been taught that as long as you believe in yourself, you can do anything, which is true. It is true. So you tell everyone, I want to be a scientist. I want to be a scientist. You tell everybody. You tell all your family members, all your friends, your teachers, I want to be a scientist. And everyone you talk to knows you want to be a scientist. So one day, the leading science company shows up at your door. The CEO shows up at your door to talk to you and your parents. And they say, we've heard so much about this kid. He wants to be a scientist. We know he wants to be a scientist. We're going to do something that we've never done before. Something spectacular. Because he just talks about it. He lives it. He breathes it. We're going to bring him out of high school to our firm, leading research firm in the world. We're going to pay him $250,000 while we train him to be a better scientist. Your parents are like, oh my goodness, thank you, Jesus. Oh my goodness. Everybody's excited. You can't believe it. You're like, oh my gosh. I can't believe this is happening. But they say, well, there is just one thing. We know this is a formality. This is nothing. We know for a fact he's destined to be a scientist. But it's just one thing we just want him to do, just to make sure that we've got the right kid. He said, what is that, anything? We need him to recite the periodic table of elements. This guy knows it. So the parents are like, what? I don't know what that is, but I know he knows what it is. And you're thinking, you're like, man, I want to be a scientist so bad, but all I've been doing is watching nature videos and the Weather Channel and all that stuff. I didn't think anybody was going to actually ask me to do something scientific. And so they're like, we know every kid who has an interest in science knows this. This is simple. Just as soon as you recite it, we can cut the first check and we can get started. You're like, can I get a hint? He's so funny. Go ahead and just recite it so we can get on. Can I tell you my favorite ones? And you blew it. Because you failed to plan and you failed to prepare. You had the goal, but you failed to plan and you failed to prepare. Now let's say you did plan and you know you need to know that stuff. And you find out that for whatever your dream job is, you need a master's or a doctorate degree, but you never took the SAT or ACT. When your plans, you should be trying to figure out, how do I get there anyway? You can find a way if you plan for it and you work your plan. And I want you all to know this. This is very important. Some of you heard this before. This is something you really need to know. Success happens when preparation meets opportunity. I used a science reference before. I'm going to use a sports reference. I got a lot of athletes in here. So let's say you want to be a wide receiver in a league. And you tell everybody you want to be a wide receiver. You've studied all the best receivers. You know what it takes. You can jug. You can catch. You can do your end zone dance. You can do all that. But you never put in the work. So a team owner comes to your house, same scenario like the scientist, and say, hey, listen, this kid's always talking about he wants to be a wide receiver. We know he wants to. We know this is the only thing he's thinking of. We're going to pay him right out of high school. He doesn't even have to play. He's just going to come to our camp and train for a few years and get paid. Thank you, Jesus. That's your parents. That's your mom. That's your grandma. Auntie. But they say, well, there's just one thing. It's a formality. We know as bad as he wants to do this. We know he can do this. This is nothing. We need him to run at least an under 6 second 40. At least under 6 seconds. For all of you who don't know what 40 is, MBK knows it's a 40-yard dash. Now, if you really did your homework and you planned and you prepared, you would know that you need to be under 5 seconds. But they're going to give you some leeway and say under 6 seconds. But you've been talking about it, but you never put in the work. So you weren't prepared. So even though that opportunity came right to your door, it fell right in your lap, it smacked you in the face, you failed to prepare. And success happens when preparation meets opportunity. I need you all to understand this, because a lot of people think that they don't get anywhere in life because the opportunity never comes. That's not the case all the time. That's not always the case. A lot of times the opportunity is right there, knocking on your door, poking you, nudging you, punching you, but you're not ready to take it. I need you all to understand this. Leadership. Now, what I do outside of this, I do leadership trainings for schools, companies, nonprofits, and sometimes companies will call me back and ask me to do parenting trainings, leadership parenting trainings. And at the organizational level, I define leadership as the ability to effectively guide others towards the pursuit or accomplishment of a goal or purpose that they do not immediately view as a direct benefit to themselves. It's a lot of words in it. Basically what it's saying is that you help the employee be happy fulfilling the mission that you place in front of them. That's it. Now, I teach this to organizations and schools and companies. But at you all's level, you all have an opportunity to embody something that I call social leadership. I define social leadership as confidently doing the right thing that others won't because it is difficult or unpopular. You want to say something?
It's kind of like fencing.
Hold on.
Sport fencing is difficult and it's unpopular.
I like that. He said it's kind of like the sport fencing. And you know what? In a way, he's right. Because if you like to fence and you're good at it, but people tease you for that, and you say, I don't care if you tease me, I don't care if you think that's nerdy. I'm going to be the best fencer I can be. You're confident in that. It's an excellent answer, excellent response. Now, social leadership can be difficult with young leaders because of the people that you surround yourself with. What tends to happen? When we're in school and the teacher hands us our paper back, our friend gets his paper back, and he already knew he was gonna get a bad grade. He doesn't care. He didn't know. What'd you get? I got this D. You want some D? I got this D. That's how it is, let's be real. That's how it is. But you get your paper back and you know you got a good grade, but you can't let anybody see it. Because they're gonna roast you. They're gonna clown you, they're gonna chew you, all that stuff you gotta say. So you're trying to hide your paper, and your friend's like, hey, what you got though? You're like, nah, I ain't get that. The teacher, she tripping, man, she tripping, I ain't get that. Nah, for real, what you got though? I ain't get nothing, I ain't get nothing. Now let me see it. I ain't get nothing. Finally, somebody grabs your paper, shows it to him. He says, you got an A. Oh, so you think you smart. Your Jimmy Neutron head. Oh, so you a nerd. And so you play it off on the outside, but on the inside, you're like, what? This is beyond me. So we can all point out the friend that does that. But how many of us can point out the friend that when we do something that's good, get that good grade, or do the right thing, they'll say, hey man, you did a good job. That was amazing, that was incredible, that was excellent. Now I know MBK has that, because they're taught to be like that for each other. MBK stands for My Brother's Keeper. Give them a round of applause. But how many of the rest of us have that in our lives? How many of us have friends that when we do the right thing, they congratulate us instead of trying to roast us? They say, hey man, keep up the good work. That was amazing. Some people don't have any friends like that at all. But I got good news for you. If you don't have any friends like that, I'll tell you how to get friends like that. If you don't have any friends that encourage you and show you love and appreciation when you do the right thing, the way that you get friends like that is you start becoming that friend to the people you hang out with. That's how you get friends who show you that love. Now, I don't live in fairy tale land. I know we live in the real world. So I know that not every time when you do that, you're gonna get a positive response. A lot of times it's gonna look like this. Got your friend over here, you saw, he just got a good grade on his test. You say, hey man, hey, good job, man. Congratulations, good job. Like they just smell some boiled garbage. Bro, you supposed to be Uncle Phil? Boy, if you don't get your Coach Carter looking. That's how it is. That's the world we live in. You're gonna have a lot of people who give you negativity when you give them positivity. But guess what? They did you a favor because they showed you who you should not be spending your time with. And so what's gonna happen is, the more friends you have that you start doing that with, you're gonna have a lot of them that give you that nasty response, but you're gonna have other ones that reciprocate it back to you. They give that positivity back to you. When you start doing something that's good, maybe they wouldn't roast you before, but they're gonna say, hey man, you did good too, I guess. You did pretty good. Congratulations, whatever. Eventually we get used to that, because they're getting it from you, and they give it back to you. If you want to succeed, you need to surround yourself with people who lift you up when you do the right thing. If you keep surrounding yourself with people who tear you down because it's funny, you did something that's good, and they didn't, and they just tear you down, and you find yourself trying to justify why you did right, they're gonna keep pulling you down. You have to find better people to surround yourself with. Now, one more thing and I'm gonna go. I'm gonna ask you all a question. How many of you all have heard, because we're talking about social leadership, how many of you all have heard, show of hands, and saying that good girls like bad guys? Raise your hand. Everybody, I saw some hands, shoot them. Well, guess what? I'm here to tell you that's not necessarily true. And I know a lot of y'all think I'm crazy because I just said that. Hear me out. I'm gonna tell you how I came to that conclusion. So, I was on social media, and I was looking through some videos. And I came to a video of Michelle Obama. She was sitting like this way on a sofa, and there was another lady on the sofa over here. It was like kind of like Oprah style, and they were talking. I don't know what they were talking about, but all of a sudden, out of nowhere, her book, thank you, her book, somebody told me, yeah, she probably saw the same clip. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, President Obama comes out with some flowers for her. The crowd goes wild. Crowd goes wild. So I start reading the comments, and I see the comments from the young ladies. And they're saying stuff like, now that's a real man. President Obama is bae. Right? One girl said, attention fellas, if your last name ain't Obama, don't even try. Right? And I kept reading all these comments, hundreds of comments, thousands of comments. You know they meant it. Because one girl, young people will know what I mean when I say this. One girl put, the Obamas are relationship goals, AF. Now the adults who didn't laugh, they said, President Obama was in the Air Force? What's going on here? He's a military man, hallelujah. Another girl put, I'm literally crying right now because I know I will never find a man like President Obama. And these were hundreds, thousands of comments. So I said, how is it that all these girls are saying all these things about a man like President Obama? So I went and looked at their page. I went and looked. And if you scroll and you look to see how they really think, eventually you come to something that says, oh, if he ain't the thug, I don't want him. And so I said, how does that make any sense? That's directly contradictory. So one day I got an opportunity to talk with a group of youth. And they were half male and half female. And so I said to them, I said, hey, listen, have you all heard how good girls like bad guys? All the boys like, yup. And the girls didn't really say anything. And so I asked them, I said, okay, how do you know that? They said, well, in school, all the boys who talk back and don't do what they're supposed to do, that's what all the girls like. They always have girlfriends, they always have girls fighting over them, all that stuff. So I asked the girl, I said, is that true? And at first they were like, no. And I said, no, think about it. It's like, well, so-and-so always be getting in trouble, but it's not because he get in trouble, he just fine. And they said somebody else's name, oh, he be getting in trouble, but he just too cute. So be honest with yourself. And they said, I don't know, it's just something about them. I said, well, what is it? They said, I don't know, they just real. I said, real? So I said, the boys here, are they imaginary? Are they fake? So I said, what does that mean? They're real. And what she said next explained everything. She said, y'all don't want to know what she said. Gotta make sure you're listening. Somebody said commercial break. On the next episode of Dragon Ball Z. What she said next explained everything. She said, I don't know, it's like, even though they know what they're doing is wrong, they're not scared to do what they're gonna do or say what they're gonna say. And that's when it all made sense. Come on, somebody. At that moment, I realized how a girl who was so drawn to the bad boy at the same time could be so drawn to a man like President Obama. Because her perception of the bad boy is that he is fearless. And her interpretation of that perceived fearlessness is confidence. And President Obama is loaded with confidence. Although I don't think he has any of the thug in him. Hey, you're right, I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Now that you mention it, he might confront me one day and be like,
what you mean I don't got no thugness?
now hang on there. I disagree.
Sounds like a
There's some thug in here. Thank you. Thank you. Young leaders, young ladies, we got some fun tonight.